Are you struggling to pick a niche? Well, I was too until I figured this out. The pressure of niching down early on can definitely lead you to analysis paralysis, and that is a situation that we don't want to find ourselves in. So there's a common myth that you must pick one perfect niche from day one of your YouTube journey. And that is completely wrong. In this whole video, I'm going to break down why and what you can actually do about it. So what we need to do here is we need to actually reframe this whole thing, this whole niche, theme, whatever you want to call it, your audience. I like to use the word audience, okay, because that's what it is. We're picking a particular audience that's interested in a particular thing, but that can change as I'll explain. So let's reframe this whole thing. So we need to look at it and shift our perspective to look at it in a sense that our early content is our exploration phase, okay? So not only are we finding out what viewers are actually interested in, we're also discovering what we're actually interested in too. Because you might be like me, you might be multi-passionate, you might have all these various interests, these various hobbies or topics or skills that you're interested in learning about and you're interested in doing. But we want to really go through the process of discovering what is it that we are actually really interested in, like what do we really want to share with the world, and that is going to help pull the right people into our audience, okay, and it's going to grow the right audience for ourselves. So the early phase, the early content that we put out is our exploration phase. You have the fortune, or because you've just started your YouTube journey, of trying lots of different content. You're not going to necessarily get tons of traction because you're sending mixed signals to YouTube, but it's not really about that. It's about exploring yourself. It's about understanding what it is that you're really interested in, okay? And if you want to avoid, say, sending mixed signals to YouTube, you could look at creating content. Like, let's say you've got 3 different hobbies, 3 different interests that you're like, I might do this theme or this niche and that one. I don't know what one to pick. Well, just do all of them, make videos on them, and just list them as private or unlisted. Don't list them as public, because you'll still have those videos there on YouTube. It's just that nobody else can see them, and YouTube isn't gathering data on that, towards your channel. It's not going to affect your channel. And when you do then discover that, oh wait, it's actually this hobby that I'm really passionate about, I'm really interested in, I really enjoy making content around that, and I don't actually enjoy making content about the other 2, it's kind of ruining my enjoyment there. I'd rather do that just as a hobby. I don't want to make content around it. Then you can delete all of those videos and you can actually publish the videos you've created around that niche or that topic that you have now discovered that you're actually really interested in. Okay, so that is a great tip. We want to reframe this as well by thinking about it from an audience first standpoint and not a topic first standpoint. So what do I mean by that? We want to ask ourselves, who are we actually helping? Who is our audience? Who is this piece of content for? If we could pick one person to show this piece of content to in order for them to gain the most amount of value and have the most amount of impact, who is that person? We need to understand who our audience is. The topic doesn't really matter until we understand who our audience is, because our audience are going to have certain needs. They're going to have certain pain points. They're going to have certain struggles that we can help them overcome. And that doesn't, even though this is educational content that I'm putting out right now, if you're looking to put out entertainment, let's say you're a comedian and you want to put out comedy skits, you're providing entertainment, but you're probably targeting people who just want to have a laugh. They maybe they work a really hard job. Maybe their life's really busy. Maybe they're going through a lot right now and they just want a form of escapism. They just want to be entertained. They want to laugh. That is the best person that you could show your content to. If if someone is having the time of their lives already, they're not really your audience, because they don't necessarily need your content as much as that person that's struggling and really needs a laugh, okay? So let's understand who our audience is first, and then the topics will come after. So if you have multiple interests, if you're multi-passionate, then what you can actually do is you can find the common thread between your interests. So an example of this would be, maybe a common thread is self-improvement. So maybe you're into cycling, you let's say you're the comedian, okay? So you're a comedian who is interested in comedy and wants to become a better comic. You also cycle on the weekends, you go out runs on your bike and cycle. And you are also interested in writing, okay? Because that leans into the comedy aspect as well, but maybe you do some creative writing. Your common thread between those might be self-improvement, because you're always looking, maybe you are always looking for ways to level up your skill set in all of those hobbies. So that common thread is self-improvement. So now we understand, okay, the type of videos that I can create, even though I've got these 3 different interests, I can focus on creating self-improvement videos that focus on the fundamentals. They focus on fundamentals that are applicable to any interest that people are pursuing. So finding that common thread can be super helpful. Another common thread could just be creativity. You could just, you might do lots of different creative things because you're really passionate about, expressing your creative self and, again, improving the skill sets around creativity. But it might be the creative part that you're really interested in, and that's the common thread. Or it could be teaching. Maybe you enjoy teaching things that you've learned to other people. And again, that could be the case that you can teach people, say, how to be a better cyclist, how to be a better creative writer, how to be a better comedian. But again, those fundamental teaching skills to learn a skill and improve on it over time, they're still applicable. You could do your channel just purely based on teaching people how to level up their hobbies. What doesn't matter about what their hobbies are. It doesn't have to be cycling or writing or what have you. It could just be, I'm going to create content teaching you how to level up your hobby right now. So finding those common threads can be super helpful if you're multi-passionate. If not, and you're just interested in one thing, then it's a lot easier for you, because you're just like, okay, well, I'm just interested in, say, the xylophone. So I'm just going to do a YouTube channel based on, people who are also interested in xylophones. But again, are you going to focus on the self-improvement aspect of that? Are you going to focus on teaching aspect of it? Are you going to focus on the creativity aspect of it, where you're just sharing new xylophone songs that you've created? I don't even know if that's a thing. It probably is a thing. But, you want to go a little bit deeper and ask yourself those questions. And also, don't take it so seriously. Let your niche evolve through actually making content. So our niche doesn't have to be, or our theme, whatever you want to call it, doesn't have to be static. It doesn't have to be fixed. Again, it's not this myth that people will flout that you have to pick this perfect niche from day one. No, we can actually, our niche can evolve, our theme can evolve over time. And we need to do this actively, not just thinking about it. We don't want to be sitting, just thinking what niche should I do? Oh, well, I could do that, I could do this. That's all great, but it's just in your head, okay? We want to actually actualize that. We want to get that out of our head and into the world, because you're going to feel amazing when you start doing that. You're going to have lots of fears and uncertainty and doubt, around actually doing it, because you're going to feel like you're not good enough. You're going to feel like you're going to be judged by people. You're going to be afraid of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and being visible. And maybe you think your voice isn't good enough, or people are going to comment on how you look. Everybody feels that way, okay? That's completely normal. That's all part of our old wiring, okay? We have to understand that. But in order to actually make progress, we have to face those fears. We have to become comfortable in the discomfort. We have to put ourselves out there. We have to cross that threshold and step onto the train of the YouTube journey with all of the madness that's involved with it, and just roll with that train and just go on that journey, because your niche is going to evolve by actually taking actionable steps and doing it. So there's a little temporary strategy that we can use here, because we want this all to be flexible and be able to evolve over time. So what you can do initially is just pick one core audience problem. So you've identified, who your content is for, and let's just pick a common problem that they have to focus on for the next 10 to 15 videos. So that just makes it super simple for us. We now know that we're making content for people who are interested in becoming comics, but they are afraid to actually get on stage. That would be, I would assume that is a common fear of people who want to become comics and comedians. They're just afraid to get on stage. And I'm not saying that you do this, obviously it's an example, but that would be an example of a core audience problem that we can pick and make our first 10 to 15 videos around that problem. It gives us clarity and focus, and we can now be consistent about doing that. And YouTube is going to understand as well that, okay, this new channel, we don't necessarily trust them yet, but we can see that they keep making videos around this one problem that this particular audience have watched videos on in the past. So we might take a gamble and actually show their videos to these people and see how it performs. That's essentially how it works. So my niche clarity actually came through doing and not planning. So when I started this channel, this is my second channel. I started my first channel, it's like a travel channel, like 6 months ago. And this channel I've only been doing for like 2 months. It's a personal brand channel. As you can tell, I'm putting out educational content to help aspiring creators actually achieve their dream of starting their YouTube channel and actually gaining traction and making this a long-term thing, because they have goals to essentially design their dream lifestyle, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I want to help other people who want to pursue the same goal that I'm aiming for as well. And when I started this personal brand channel, I was confused. I didn't know what particular niche to choose. I knew that I wanted to help people basically consume less and create more, because I was at a point in my life where I felt like I'd been consuming so much, and I really wanted to create. I just had this urge, this itch, this desire inside me to create. And I was fortunate that for the past decade, I've been running various businesses. I've been self-employed, running one-person businesses for the solopreneur type stuff for the past 10 years. And I'm really lucky that there's a creative element to that. But it's got to the point where that's just not enough. That's not the path that I want to go on, those traditional businesses. I want to actually start my YouTube journey. And I did that 6 months ago with the first channel, but with this second, and that was really easy to pick the niche, because what we were it was basically a travel channel. We did like a car camping road trip around Europe for our honeymoon, me and my wife. And so the niche was basically chosen for us in a sense. Like, we're going to show car camping road trip content. That's like our niche. Okay, it was made really easy for us because we were actively doing that. But when it came to this channel, even though I knew I wanted to focus on people who wanted to consume less and create more, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do within that space. And when I first started, I thought, I don't necessarily, I don't know why, but I initially didn't want to put out educational content around YouTube or to help new creators, and I don't really know why that is. I don't know if I probably doubted that I had the capability to do that. So what I ended up doing, you can go back and watch like my first video. I don't hide any videos on this channel, but it's completely different. You know, it was like a video essay where what was I discussing? I was discussing it was about YouTube. I was basically discussing the sort of evolution of media consumption, you know, going back from when, you know, books were made and, you know, the printing press was designed and newspapers came out, and, you know, it evolved to radio and television and films, and now it's YouTube, and where's it going? So it was like a whole video essay, like, even though it was kind of in the same sphere, it was like a totally different niche. It was like I guess like video essays on kind of like topical cultural issues, I guess, in a sense, whereas it's completely different from this. And the way I discovered that I actually enjoy making this content was by doing it. You know, I did that first video, and then I did a second follow-up video to that was kind of similar, and I then took a break because I was like, this just doesn't feel right. This isn't what I expected. And now I'm doing this and I love it, and this feels right. I feel aligned. I feel like I've found my place on YouTube, and I'm understanding my channel as well. And I've actually changed the style, the format, because if you look at those first videos, you'll see I'm reading word for word off of an auto cue, and I'm not doing that right now. I have a notepad with some bullet points. They keep me guided as I'm explaining these topics to you guys, so I don't get totally lost in the weeds. But I have the freedom to express myself. I have the freedom to let my own thoughts come out in real time as they are, and that just suits me so much better. And it was actually my wife that encouraged me to do that. And like any husband, I says, "Oh no, I'm not. I don't think that's right." And then I did do that in the end. So if you're married, you can understand. So yeah, do it. Don't think about it. Actually take action. So you don't find your niche. You build it. I know that sounds so corny saying it, but it's true. You don't find your niche. You actually build it for yourself. And that's the best way to do it. And it all starts, basically start making now and let the niche find you. So if you want a step-by-step guide to start your YouTube channel in 2025, I have actually made a video where I share the 6 steps that I'm following myself right now to grow both of my channels. And if you want to see that full step-by-step guide, click the video here to watch it, and good luck with your YouTube journey. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.